hold on before we start. Put it up on IG that we're live.
All right. Yeah, we'll do a last minute check of polls as we are on. So far, it's looking like it's 100% on my end. And I know you have like an 88%-ish.
Yes, sir. Hold on, let me make sure that's good. This is a post now. I'm trying to do a story. Gallery mode.
Send that story and I will reshare.
All right, let's let the people know that we are live. And
no days off. No days off.
That's a fact. Nope, not that. No sound.
Let's give the people some time to join us, hopefully. Live after they are comatose, eating too much barbecue.
Let me just get rid of this.
Nice time to unwind. I like the engagement on the polls. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. It helps us actually. Yeah, it helps us really solidify the risks and rewards that we talk about on our main topic. So that's pretty awesome. We'll officially get started at 5:45. Sorry for the delay. We're organizing a couple of things to make this extra in-depth because we have a juicy topic today. And we have some fun things on the rewind.
There you go. All right, almost done.
And check one last check on the social medias. Share, follow, comment. So where you see the Risk Reward Show on Instagram, we have some clips loaded up that we'll share pretty soon, actually. Definitely one coming up tomorrow. And after we finish the show, Derrick, I'll give you some insight behind the scenes of my sharing our show in a clip to a very, very well-known person. So
okay,
hopefully that gets amplified.
That helps
at some point in the future.
That definitely helps. I'm down with us, sharing to, the masses.
For sure.
All right. So I got that. I'm getting ready to post it right now. Is it the whole bottom? Oops. All right, let's just get started. I don't want to hold us up because I got to crop it and all that. But while we're talking, we can definitely get some things out.
All right, it is 5:45 on Memorial Day. Welcome everyone to the Risk Reward Show presented by Risk Reward Media. My name is Cris Mercado, aka Mr. Risk. And I am joined by
Mr. Reward,
Derrick Stroman. And we're here to help you find the upside in your professional lives, in your businesses, in your careers. And if you thought that Memorial Day would be a day off for us, you probably don't know enough about how serious we are about helping you find the upside in your lives. So welcome to the Memorial Day edition of the Risk Reward Show. Our main topic will be sports betting legalization nationwide. We'll go over the pros and cons. But before that, we will start with our weekly rewind. And because we are sports fans, because we are NYC based, Derrick, what's up with your Knicks?
Yes, sir. My Knicks are doing fine. We're just, in the mud. It's fine. It's cool. It's 3-1, young team compared to where we were last year. I'm very excited to see this team really get to the playoffs. I mean, I can go into detail on like why I don't like them for right now, but with that being said, we will be going to a game 5 in MSG, which I know the Knicks will win. But on this topics of sports, it is an amazing thing to see fans back in stands. Like for all of the games that have been happening, it's been at least like 15,000 to 17,000 people. From athletes, they're saying the fact that fans are there, it kind of makes the game more worth to compare to last year when there was no fans at all. You just heard, you just saw faces and all that. So being able to hear the chants, the cheers, the boos, everything, I think that helps out the players because there's nothing like hearing somebody scream your name when you're shooting, or trying to make a play. But recently, the fans have been losing their goddamn minds. They have been cooped up in their homes for over a year now, and now that they're out, they are wilding out. We've had 3 incidents where the fans have either thrown something at somebody, and it's gotten to the point where they even spit on people, which I think is crazy. I think spitting on somebody is the ultimate, like, I'm going to give you the hands right now. Like, doesn't matter where we are, who you are. If you spit on me, that is the most disrespectful thing. So as a fan myself, I think those people who have done that should have, be banned from the stadium. I feel like the NBA has done a great job at that. But for the things that did happen, I just want to recap for everybody who just hasn't seen it. But last night, Kyrie Irving, he had a bottle thrown at him. Russell Westbrook, he had popcorn thrown on him. And then Trae Young, as much as I don't like him right now, you should not spit on people. And someone spat on him. So I was watching First Take earlier, and Stephen A. and Max, they had very, very good points. So something that I do want to bring up that they said is that the NBA has done everything that they can in terms of banning these fans. But the NBA is not responsible for doing like the legal things after. So what the NBA needs to do is work more closely with law enforcement to make sure that these fans are, I guess, like the actions are taken further. And for the fan that threw the bottle at Kyrie last night, he's been arrested and charged with assault and battery. So I feel like before, if you're a fan, who cares if I get banned from a stadium? I can go to another, city and stuff like that. But now that fans can kind of see that, oh shit, I can get arrested for this. Like let's not take it to that next step. So me personally, I'm happy to see that this fan is getting the proper, I guess, reaction in terms of like now he's being arrested and charged and all that. So hopefully this stops other fans from doing or any other like copycats. So hopefully this really stops that from happening and we can really enjoy these games. So, I mean, with that being said, how do you feel about fans being arrested or are these fans just going crazy?
So that Boston Celtics fan, it was assault and battery, right? But I think at the end of it was with a deadly weapon. I was like, wait,
which was unless it was a glass bottle, which I doubt it was. Then I can see it, but it's a plastic bottle, probably.
Yeah, I was like, so that threw me off. But in general, I am all for swift and harsh punishment for deterrence in this case. So that Boston fan should not be allowed to any NBA game for the rest of his life. Mm-hmm. And sure, that sounds kind of harsh, but you don't do that to athletes. Like, I know you paid, but you didn't pay to get in to like assault, the athletes. Like you're there to watch them. It's okay to boo. It's okay to like even curse, but once you go along the lines of like physically touching them, and by extension, like throwing an object is you're touching the athlete, or once you get like very like racial, and like you have racist remarks, like hateful speech, you deserve to be thrown out. But honestly, you shouldn't see another game in person in any NBA arena because you can still enjoy the game at a bar in your house where you could be a jerk on your own, right? So you don't have to be in the arena. So it should be a one-shot deal. So same goes with the popcorn person. I'm guessing that's not with a deadly weapon. The spitting one is like so disgusting. That actually is the worst one for me. And I know this was trending on Twitter, but I also thought about it even before I noticed it on Twitter. In some ways, Ron Artest and Steven Jackson in the Malice at the Palace, when they punched the fans, right? Because that's what started that melee. That's why the NBA is so strict on like flagrant fouls, technical fouls, and these interactions with fans, because they don't want to get to that point again. But a part of me was like, you know what? Those fans deserve that punch in the face. And I know the athletes can't do it, right? Again, because of what happened at the Malice at the Palace. I know security guards can run up on them, and I think they can only hit them if it was like self-defense. I'm actually calling for fans to like check the jerks around them. Like I would have loved it if there was a lady that was in the way of that fan spitting on Trae Young, right? And so she got indirectly spat on. I would have loved it if she like punched him in the face, because like there's really like you said, and the folks at First Take, you mentioned like the NBA can only do so much. I think it's sort of up to us as like also fans to start controlling one another and like let people know like that is so wrong. So I'm with you on that. I am not with you on the Knicks though. Trae Young is cooking y'all. Trae Young, aka Trey DeBarge. Man, I was like,
Trae is balding.
All I'm saying is like Rhythm of the Night was playing in my head when he was shooting the threes, because El DeBarge is like, I'm an R&B snob, so El DeBarge is like one of the R&B greats. So his songs, like Trae Young looks so much like him. I'll probably send you a few memes. But so along the side of the sports theme, my weekly rewind actually is a focus on the power of the athlete, and the person right now that has exerted the most power is Naomi Osaka, who refused to do press at the French Open, and she cited mental health reasons as to why she refused to do press. And I am all for player empowerment. I am so happy that she's like so self-aware, where she knows that doing press weighs on her, and for her to exert that power is like super amazing to me. And I know from the reactions of other athletes, it has been inspirational to them. There's a couple of fine points, however, that I want to get to. So one, when we lump like media together, there are journalists who are part of the media, but then there are also like the clickbait artists who are part of the media. And Naomi mentioned in her statement on IG that, quote, we're often sat there and ask questions that we've been asked multiple times before, or ask questions that bring doubt into our minds. And I'm just not going to subject myself to people that doubt me. So what I wanted to point out here is that, that last part about subjecting herself to people that doubt her, what I wanted to make clear, and I think she has this kind of wrong here, is that it isn't the media's job, whether or not you're a journalist, or like one of these clickbait artists. It's not their job to like support uh, a particular athlete or a particular team. I'm still of the belief that as a journalist, you're supposed to be as objective as possible. So I'm going to separate the clickbait artists here because, we're not like, I'm not in support of them. And the ones that I will, respect the most will be the journalists. So their job is to get at truth, right? So if, let's say, Naomi had struggled against an inferior opponent, it is, the journalist's job to find out why. So, if Naomi's asked by that journalist, like, hey, why were you struggling? Right? Was it mental? Did you have an injury? Did you underestimate your opponent? That's fair game, right? That's not the media. That's not this journalist like doubting her. And I think this needs to be like parsed out, because I come across a lot of like students, high school, college aged, where there's this sense of like toxic positivity where everything has to be positive. Like you have to hide all like the negative. You can't grow unless you confront those like negatives, right? And as long as it's being done in a respectful tone, I think it's fair game for Naomi to field like those types of questions, hard-hitting questions from reputable journalists. Now I will say that I've seen a lot of media members, both the clickbait artists and journalists, ask really stupid questions. So they media themselves, they need to step their game up and start asking like real questions, respectful questions that aren't just about, getting that click or getting something that could go viral. Like that is disrespectful to the athlete. And then as an update, so Naomi knew when she put this out 4 days ago that she would be fined. The French Open kind of challenged her, and Naomi today called their bluff. So Naomi just withdrew from the French Open. And I think that is a bold move, because and that is exerting power and leverage, because the French Open needs her more than she probably needs the French Open. So what are your thoughts, Derrick, on Naomi's decision?
First and foremost, I do agree. I agree with her. Like, I'm happy that she took her power back in terms of saying, you know what, this is not a part of the sport that I don't like, so I don't want to do it. She's not the first athlete to do something like that. Marshawn Lynch, like, why he's giving the people the same answer every time. So I agree with her in terms of stepping back. In terms of what you mentioned about the journalists, I think something that a lot of people don't understand is that yes, you have journalists that do ask those dumb questions, but you do have those journalists that ask those very good questions also. So like you mentioned before, she should be, getting those questions on like, hey, like, how did you feel about this match and stuff like that? That's that's something that she should be willing to just like speak about and all that. But I think where the backlash and like I feel, I mean, this is just me just like thinking about it. It may be something different for her, but I think the social media aspect is where she gets a lot of the backlash from, in terms of just reading people's comments, because she can probably give the best answer ever, but you're going to have that handful of people that are just going to dog her just because of like whatever. So I think social media plays a big part, because if you're putting yourself out there, if you're getting like these viral moments, you're going to have the part of the world that's okay with that, but then also you're going to have another part of the world that's just going to trash you. So I hope that she doesn't, look at social media as like that's like the standard, in terms of like where she stands as a person, as well as I think she's like number 2 in the tennis. So with the social media, I hope she doesn't pay attention to that as much. But I think that could be one of the major things that get to her in terms of what she's dealing with, and with like her mental health. But also on the flip side, this wasn't a very popular opinion when I was talking to like a few people about it. But if you're an athlete, you signed up for this. Like, you're gonna have to do like this media run. So for her to not do it, I get it, but then I see why the French Open would find her, because we're putting all of this press around you, and you're not doing what you're not paid to do, but what you signed up for. So I'm gonna find you. And she did call their bluff in terms of her just like, if you're gonna keep on finding me, then I'm just gonna pull out. So I do think in the long run that sports in general, one, they're going to be more aware of how their athletes are feeling, as well as what are they going to do with other athletes who feel this exact same way. And also, what was my last point? Well, yeah, I feel like that's all that I really have for it. But I think for her to do that, it's very, very powerful. But on one end, this is what you signed. This is what you signed up for. Like, this wasn't your first time for doing it. So what's the difference between now and then? Of course, she said she's going through a depression, so that's the reason why. But I just wanted to be known that when you're an athlete, you sign up for this type of all of these eyes on you, and all of the people just waiting for you to say something, because now everything is like the fact that she released a statement on social media, like that tells you everything like you need to know on how powerful social media is. So just being aware that this is what you signed up for. And I don't think people should be giving the French Open backlash for finding her.
Yeah. So I think that preserving oneself, because she's aware of her depression, I think, and sharing that online, I think is super courageous. So yes, like we're in agreement. We support her in this, but I want to get to the finer points as more of a lesson for the general public, right? So I'm going to pull back a bit and say, for any athlete, if you can't pick and choose like just the good sides of media, because some of that media exposure helped you like become amplified to the point where you might have been more likely to get an endorsement, right? So athletes have used the media for their benefit as well. And you can't really just pick and choose that side. You're going to have to also address the journalists who ask hard-hitting questions when you're not performing well, right? So as long as athletes recognize that balance, it's totally fine, and it makes total sense how in a case of where like their physical or like their mental health, their emotional well-being is at risk at the moment, then fine, shut everything down, shut everything off. Like, preserve yourself, because we want to see athletes have long careers. We want to see them shine, right? But I also want to, acknowledge that athletes shouldn't be able to just pick and choose like the good sides of everything. And it is, like you said, it is part of like what they signed up for, right? And going into this, that doesn't mean like they should give up all their power to the media requests, but it's something that should be acknowledged. All right. So Derrick, you still with me? Your screen's a little frozen.
Send on that one.
All right. So we're going to move on to our main topic. So this is a very sports heavy episode, because our main topic is going to address the prospects of legalizing sports gambling nationwide, right? And I think it's very timely because we are in like the NBA playoffs. We just came through like the NFL draft. Um, we see companies like DraftKings, which Derrick and I are both like stockholders of. Um, like we see them rising. And when we look at the climate where a lot of states and the federal government are in the hole in terms of like their budgets, um, sports betting would generate a lot of like tax revenue that would be super helpful to local and federal government as well. So, Derrick, I want you to tackle sort of like the multiple rewards of legalizing sports betting.
Sure. So you took two of like the biggest ones. The first one being for anybody who is invested in the stock market, like Cris mentioned, we both own DraftKings. So for me, I'm looking at this as like a plus. So I would want the company that I'm holding to do well. And in order for that to happen, sports betting needs to be legalized nationwide. So for me, DraftKings, I believe right now is legal in 11 states. And there's, we have 50, so there's nothing but growth there. So being able to get these other states on board, and I'm pretty sure there's, laws in place to where they're trying to get these states on board. So I'm pretty sure that's in the works now. So from the investor side, having that would definitely work for my portfolio and yours, I'm sure, and for anybody else who holds DraftKings. So I'm hoping that all goes well, but sports betting itself is a $203 billion business. And the fact that states can get a cut of that because this, COVID has really, like you just said, has hit a bunch of states very, very hard. So being able to get a piece of that cut, I think would help states out, so much right now, especially with like what's happening. And you have states like New York now, marijuana is it's on the verge of being, legalized. So they're looking at other ways to bring revenue to the state also. So sports betting is just one of the, I guess like the avenues to having that happen. But another big upside with this, I guess business being, just like legalized nationwide is that it's going to create so much more jobs. Not only jobs within the casinos, like whether you're, cashiers, security or anything like that, but also for those who are, trying to find jobs within tech, analysts, being able to look at, stats and just kind of taking all of that big data and saying, based on this, we see this team, we see the Knicks winning the championship or something like that. But it's going to create so much jobs, tech and non-tech jobs, that I think is going to be very helpful. But also another thing I would like to mention is my mom, she watches a lot of like mafia movies. And when it comes to mafia, like a lot of the times they're always beating people up just because of, sports betting. So I think if it's legalized, it's going to remove like that dirtiness from it. I feel like everybody's like, I mean, the fact that I have DraftKings and like I own DraftKings, I've been playing around with sports betting, doing like the parlays and stuff like that. So,
hold on, have you won? Are you a net winner?
Oh, I mean, I won before. Yeah. When I went to Atlantic City, I've won a few times. I had one big win. It was last year though. And I won on it was a Celtics game that I won on. So I put in like $50 and I got back $360. So I was like, all right, cool. So this is something that works for me. But I think that like stigma of like sports betting, it's going to be removed. The fact that it's going to be, legalized nationwide. So for me, I mean, those are like the big rewards that I see when it comes to sports betting being, legalized nationwide. I'm sure you have some risks that are involved in that.
All right, sounds good. now it's my turn to do the flip side, but I'm gonna do this a little differently. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna share my screen on an article.
I got you right now.
And I think it will illustrate some of the risks of legalizing sports betting. So for the sports fans out there, you might know this person, but uh, ESPN commentator Dan Dakich um, lost a lot of money betting on the NCAA tournament, so March Madness, and he now delivers food via DoorDash, right? So I think that, and I'll stop share like really quick because I think that headline alone should be shocking enough to kind of illustrate some of the risks you have with sports betting. So I asked if you won, right?
Yeah.
Um, during times where like you lost, um, was it easy for you to walk away?
For me, because it wasn't big. It wasn't big, like big money. I know the risks that are involved when it comes to gambling. This isn't something that you can study. It's really based on luck when it comes to sports gambling.
So the thing is like we can know the risk, and the reason we're doing this episode in this way is to actually make sure our audience and everyone can know all the risks, right? Um, but it's the behavior when like you are confronted with an opportunity to bet. Like how do you like how long do you stay in? Like when do you double down? When do you just pull out? Like it can get really dicey, right?
Mhm.
Um, so one, I want to remind people that when they do like the odds, when they set the odds, right? They're doing it in a way so that in the long run, the house will always win. So you might get lucky here and there. You might do all like the research and you might have a pretty good track record, right? But in the long run, for the totality of people who bid on sports, the house will win. It's tilted in their favor in the same way like when you go to casinos, right? So I think everybody should know that and not go out there and think that they can outsmart the house consistently. Um, Two, when you hear like someone who is prominent on TV go from, commentating on games to delivering food, like that spiral downward is fast. So March Madness, that was a couple of months ago, right? That spiral is fast. And I do not think that people in general um, are aware of like how much self-control like they might have. And if you don't have like the mechanisms within yourself to curtail it, if you don't have the people around you to intervene, that descent is going to be super painful. And people talk about like generational wealth. How about losing generational wealth because you got sucked into gambling? Gambling, so you have a couple of factors here that are part of human nature that are really dangerous. So one is greed, right? And then you have like money. But then because it's sports and oftentimes we have like this emotional investment in a team, then it's also winning. So when you combine winning like with money, right? And like all that dopamine hit that you get from it. I mean, we get that hit when we, trade stocks once in a while, right? Um, and then you have all types of sports. It's sometimes some of the betting isn't even on like the actual game. It's like
the color
pregame,
of color of the Gatorade.
Exactly. The prop bets for the Super Bowl can be like, how long is the Star Spangled Banner? Right? So there's so many ways to suck you in unless you have the mechanisms to like pull yourself out. Like it's a dangerous game. So I'll share a quick anecdote. When I was in second grade, I was kind of like a pool hustler in my basement. I would bet people like quarters, $1 or $2, right? Because I was broke as hell. I was living in an attic at the time. But I knew all the grooves on the pool table. And I knew like there might be a really slight slant in certain areas, right? So I used it to my advantage and I would win more than I would lose. So that's when like literally I started to sharpen my risk reward skills on the sports betting side. And then in junior high, I was a pretty decent athlete, decent at football and basketball, but it didn't look like it because I just look nerdy. So I was like, all right, you're going to underestimate me? Put some money down on it. And I would.
You sound like Jordan.
Yeah, exactly. So like folks don't know, but like I have that mentality. People talking about Mamba mentality. I was like, nah, man, I had that before. But so I was like, all right, put down some money. And then again, like I would win more often than I wouldn't. I remember one time it was a 2-on-2 street football game. My partner couldn't show up like last minute. So I was like, how do I pull this off? So I could only score on like punts and kickoffs and I had to modify it so that like, no one would stay in and the quarterback would be stationary. Right. So I would play corner all the time. I won. I won a 1-on-2 street football game.
Damn.
Right? So, because I was like, I am not losing this money. Right. So, I mean, that's where kind of like I got sucked into and made me really competitive. Maybe it might be to a slight fault in some cases, but in general, I'm glad that it built out my competitive spirit. But what no one knows is that when I was in like 6th, 7th grade, there would be people in my junior high school that had the betting slips. So that's when I first tried to do like what is more traditional sports betting. So I was like 13, kind of young, right? In junior high. But to think of it on the other side, I had classmates who were running betting slips throughout the school. Right. So like that might be like the city side of it. But when you call for like the national legalization of it, it's sort of a signal that it's okay to folks who could be as young as like 13 running betting slips. Right. So that's like one risk. And then what happens is you end up like what I foresee is you end up creating this country that is no longer one full of investors. And one would argue that in recent times, folks really aren't investing. They've been trading. But now if you make this legal nationwide, you're going to turn investors and traders into like into another extreme, which would be speculators. So once you have this growing speculator class, you're going to have more bubbles across various markets. It could be stock market, could be real estate. So your downturns are going to be more frequent and more severe. That's what I foresee. And in my prediction, my bold prediction here, by 2025, compulsive sports gambling will be a top 3 epidemic. reaching the likes of like the opioid crisis that we've had for a while now. So that's what I see as the risks for making sports betting legal nationwide. But I'm going to flip a couple things on the reward side, specifically to these risks. There are a couple of new industries that are like rising, and you had mentioned like more jobs in terms of like data, and you'll have like these sports tech companies. But one angle is also sports betting content creation. ESPN has shows dedicated just to sports betting, right? And I think that if folks want to make money a little bit differently on this wave of legalization, we think it's inevitable, right? But if folks want to make money on like the tangent of it, content creation, when it comes to sports betting, like shows, podcasts, like that's a lane that's still pretty open if y'all want to take that. And then the other one too is for those who are in social work, for those who are in counseling and therapy. If you start specializing in compulsive sports gambling, I think you're going to make money off of this wave as well. And more importantly, you're going to help counter the effects, the negative effects of, legal nationwide sports betting. So those are a couple of, again, career angles, because that's what we do here at the Risk Reward Show, help you all find the upside in your careers, professional lives, financial lives. So I think, we've covered like the pluses and minuses, the risks and rewards. And all I'm going to say is this: if you as an individual, right, tune into this show, you heard us speak on the risks and rewards of sports betting, and you got yourself in a hole. Let's say you lose your house, it goes in foreclosure. Just know I'm looking up those foreclosure housing sites to buy it, and I'll do it without remorse, because we laid it out for you. It's fair game. Once it's legal, it's fair game. And this is the tricky part, right? Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's right. And yeah, and you know my story, Derrick. So I'm in the immigrant rights space where some of the laws, like what's legal and what's not, doesn't mean that it's right. So I'm going to put that out there, but I'm also going to say these unintended negative consequences that are probably going to occur, there will be folks like me that are going to be opportunistic because we're going to do our best, at least like on my part. And I know you're pretty wise when it comes to your money, to not get sucked in when it is really easy to get sucked in, because all of the sports betting is being gamified. Like if you do it on your app, you'll see the numbers run up. You'll see, like in Robinhood, the confetti. Like, why do you need confetti when you like purchase a stock, right?
That's
like all that's doing is wiring your neurons to enjoy that and crave more of it. Mm-hmm. So we're telling y'all, when you have this confluence of tech, legalization, this sense of winning and money, and this like human nature that sometimes tends to go towards greed, it's a dangerous combination. Y'all better look out. So I hope you enjoy your betting responsibly. If you want to think of betting in this way, like you do lottery, like betting could be part of your investment portfolio. It is high risk, maybe like low reward, right? But there's like a fun to it, right? Or it could be like moderate risk, moderate reward, but there's like a fun to it. As long as you don't allocate too much money on the sports betting, cool. You get your kicks, right? Maybe you win some money. But I think it's something to think about, even though the rewards seem pretty clear.
Yeah, I think you just hit everything on the head in terms of laying out all of those risks, as well as like the other side effects or like symptoms that could happen from this. I just want to say that I just typed in sports betting jobs, and literally 3,000 jobs popped up, and the average salary is $60K. And these are sports betting writer, customer experience, recovery specialists. I'm curious to see like what that's about. Data scientist, data engineer, product manager.
Is recovery specialist like I'm coming over to take your money? Is that what that is?
Let's check it out now. And this is from FanDuel.
Yeah. So by the way, I know What Now Works is working on a job board, right? With Stroman, Heriberto Roman. So hopefully there'll be some sports betting jobs up. I know that this week, as a follow-up to this episode, we're also going to post on GrantAnswers some jobs on sports betting companies like DraftKings and FanDuel.
So the customer experience recovery specialist is responsible for correcting customer experiences that have been below our standards. So it's just more of like a customer service type thing.
Okay.
When they said like recovery, I thought it was like, hey, like we're coming to get the money back from you.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
That's real mafia talk right there.
Yeah. Again, and this is literally why we have our show titled Risk Reward Show, right? We want to give people, like a transparency in terms of the upside, but also the downside. It is up to you all to choose. If sports tech companies, if governments want to reach out to us to kind of see how we can consult and maybe be proactive in putting in some safeguards, or also maximizing the opportunity here, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, and something that you mentioned before, I just want to, for anybody who is looking for any like jobs within tech, whether it be full-time, part-time, or an internship, if you check out the What Now Works website, head over to the career seekers page, you'll see the job board there also. But these jobs that are out there, like their titles is crazy. They have social programmer from Bleacher Report.
It is a hot field.
Yeah.
So, and I know, we work with some cohorts. We're going to send over some opportunities to them, but we'll make it public. I'm going to use LinkedIn for GrantAnswers to post some job opportunities in the sports betting space. But no, I think we did a thorough job on that one. We'd love to hear from the audience. Please comment, follow, and share. We'd love to know. In checking the polls earlier, it was an overwhelming yes. I'm really curious to see after this episode if maybe we have changed some people's minds, or maybe we have strengthened their belief in sports gambling legalized nationwide is the right way. So super curious to see that. But again, like please follow, please comment, please share on YouTube, and beyond YouTube as well. So I think this is where we can transition to the right move right now. And let's keep it on a sports tip right now. So what's your right move right now, Derrick?
Knicks in 7. That's my right move right now. Knicks in 7. We are going to win Game 5. We're going to go back to Atlanta for Game 6, and we're going to close it out at MSG for Game 7.
Oh, somebody's optimistic.
But rewards on this side.
Okay. Related to that, I'm just gonna tell people to look at pictures of El DeBarge and then Trae Young, and I want you to run up all of the Spotify plays for El DeBarge, because he is a legend in R&B that doesn't get the credit that he deserves. And then to close out, sort of on this theme of sports betting. For me, like if you're gonna bet on sports, I just want to make sure that you bet on yourself first in every way. This means saving, which is literally like investing in yourself, or putting some money in stocks, even cryptos. You're investing in yourself and your future. Or this could be like eating like much more healthy foods, because that is investing in yourself, right? If you have to pay up for like vegetables, plant-based food, right? That's investing in yourself. If you exercise like daily, like I do, that is investing in yourself. So in every way, right? When you are thinking about betting on other things outside, externally from you, just make sure you're making sure that you're investing and betting on yourself in multiple ways, in health, in finances, and in career.
Health and wealth, baby. Health and wealth.
Yes, yes. So this was episode 17, 17. We can't believe we made it this long. We're looking forward to the next one. We're retooling our open office hours. So we won't do Twitter Spaces today, but we might do an open office hours segment back on YouTube starting episode 18. We'll keep you all up to date. But feel free to send over some comments, some topics that you all want to see. And we're definitely not afraid to tackle them.
Say that again, but like Cris mentioned, follow, like, and share. I feel like I've heard a lot of good things from the people that I've shared our videos with, that they really enjoyed it. So if there's something that just like resonates with you, feel free to share it with anybody. But we're here to help you find your upside in your career and your personal business.
30 subscribers by the end of this week. That's the goal. Let's get to 30.
The bigger goal. Let's get to 50 by the end of this month. By the end of next month.
All right. That sounds good. All right. We will see you all for the next episode. Look out for some clips that you will love. And we hope you have a great rest of your Memorial Day weekend.
All right. See you.